4. Feel free to call me slow, but I spent 16 years going to school, and I still don't know. When I finished, I didn't know how to do my own taxes, purchase a home, or apply for a loan. I didn't know a thing about investments, building credit, or getting a job. I graduated at the top of my class, and what did I have? This fancy diploma to sit at home with my mom. But luckily, they did teach me some important skills like factoring trinomials and how mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. I'm so happy I remember the Pythagorean theorem. It helped me a lot. Okay, I'm lying. Let me stop. Because all the stuff they taught me, truthfully, I forgot. Mom, remember when you would ask me, what did you learn in school today? And I would say, nothing much. I wasn't being modest. The truth about it, Mom, is I had already forgotten. And it's not just me. Millions of students sing the same song. How many of you guys avoid eye contact with the teacher to try not to get caught upon? Afraid to raise your hand for fear of being wrong, which proves that school isn't an environment for learning or building up the intellect. It's just a game you play for grades and how many A's you can collect. But I guess what do you expect when the most commonly asked question in class is this
for a grade?
Is this going to be on the test?
Or is it going to be on the
test? Learning instead of testing and memorizing as the top standard, then the letter F would not stand for failure. It would stand for find another answer. And if school was really interested in our personal and academic success, students would wake up later, have more freedom and homework, a lot less. And that's not my opinion. This conclusion has been scientifically tested and proven. And any teacher that doesn't believe me, feel free to check my works cited page to inspect. Oh, and I did it in MLA format. I know that's all you will accept. See, students will get more benefit from an extra hour of sleep than putting them through the torture of an extra essay, reading 150 pages, doing problems 1 through 60 on the worksheet, and having 3 projects due by the end of the week. Not only is it pointless pain, but it's also dimwitted. Because we get so much work, but they don't teach the time management skills to deal with it. See, in school, we are controlled by bells. We have to learn in rooms with the feng shui of a prison cell. We have to ask permission to relieve bodily functions, but not before the teacher asks a million questions like, why didn't you go before class? I'm sorry, my bladder is kind of on its own schedule, and it's not always timely. See, teachers always say, use your time wisely. But that never made sense to me. Because these 6 cruel hours of our lives we call school might literally be the worst use of time management ever in history. Think about it. The traditional teaching method is foolish. No, it's useless, multiplied by the square root of stupid. What they do is they cram information in your head, force feeding you, and then you throw it up on the test. That's not education. That's bulimia. And the more bulimic you are, the better you will do on their assessments. So it's no wonder why so many students graduate mentally and emotionally anorexic. See, school teaches you how to memorize dots. True education should teach you how to connect them. True education teaches you how to catch a fish. School teaches you, yeah, you caught the fish, but you didn't show your work, so it doesn't count. Throw it back. I'm just asking, what is school for? It's not education. That's just not true. If you still think that, you might be sniffing clues. See, the word education comes from the Latin root induce, meaning bring out, i.e. bring the gifts out of a person and make them viable. But school doesn't bring out much. It just stuffs more facts inside of you. Now some of that stuff is justifiable. We need reading, writing, and some arithmetic. That's fair. But are you telling me metamorphic and igneous rocks are more important than self-care? If suicide is the 3rd leading cause of death of ages 10 to 24, and Harvard studies suggest the biggest predictor for success is self-control and emotional health, then why the heck aren't we taught how to handle stress, bullies, or rejection? How about anxiety or depression? You know, skills we need for our entire lives. Bro, I don't even know how to cook. I'm honestly surprised I'm still alive. But hey, at least I can name all the battles that happened in the Civil War. Seriously, what is school for? Some say you need it to be successful, and that's something we do not doubt. But do you own a MacBook or iPhone? Did you know they both were created by a dropout? Are you watching watching this video on Facebook or YouTube, doesn't matter which you choose, they both were created by dropouts. Ever use Snapchat, WhatsApp, shopped at Whole Foods? Well, thank a dropout. Does your home furniture come from IKEA? Okay, don't get the wrong idea. He was not a dropout. Don't be a fool. I mean, how could he drop out? Ingvar Kamprad, founder of IKEA, never even went to school. I know what you're thinking. He's just picking and choosing. There's millions who didn't go to school that aren't successful. Who is he fooling? And you're right. But open your history books and start perusing. You'll find the very people we idolize in school never really had formal and or secondary schooling. I'm talking George Washington, Abe Lincoln. America's best presidents had zero school between them. Ben Franklin, Thomas Edison, shall I proceed? Ernest Hemingway, Mark Twain, Teddy Roosevelt, Margaret Mead. Now please, I'm not saying drop out, because some schools are great and many teachers are rare treasures. I'm saying that there's a difference between people who are smart and people who score better. I'm saying that your future is something that no test will ever measure. Even if that test begins in 3 letters like SAT, ACT, it's BS if they say those determine your LIFE. No, your destiny is in your hands. You must shape it to be great. So don't expect school to open doors, because it's more likely to slam them in your face. Sometimes I wonder about all the dreams lost in school and how much potential goes to waste. If it wasn't for music and YouTube, then I would have been just another lost case. Everybody watching this, please, close your eyes. Imagine a child sitting in the back of some teacher's class in some town. He never raises his hand, he fails most of his classes, but inside of him, there is a passion. And if nurtured and brought out, will lead him to discover the cure for cancer. But you see, I'm afraid that that child's gift will never come out. He will never win the Nobel Prize award because in class he was ignored and his worth was judged only by his scores. So teachers, principals, parents, advisors, and students, I ask one more time, what is school for?
Okay, so can you describe what you just watched?
So what I just watched was kind of the paradigm shift in education, described by an artistic man who did a great job at summarizing, no pun intended, the old school versus the new school, and where we in education were for hundreds of years and where we want to go. I think it's a really cool video. Yeah.
Okay. So Prince A, who got famous for making similar videos like that on YouTube, going after different topics like pollution and even like the school system that you just watched. So my first question is, in the video it talks about how the system doesn't teach us how to do taxes or apply for a loan. Do you think that they should be teaching us this, or is this something we should learn later on in life?
No, absolutely. So the big deal, and even in Climb, what we're doing is promise to purpose. And that our promise is that when you start school, when you leave, you'll have a purpose. And a purpose doesn't necessarily mean take the SAT, ACT, get raving scores, and go to the best college ever. It means, am I ready for life? Whatever the case may be. If that's my path, or if I'm going to follow a certification, or if I'm going to be a YouTube star, it's that purpose in life. And you've got to know those things too, like as a human being, to be a positive contributor to society. So yes, the real big piece of that promise to purpose too is reimagined learning. And what that means is, how can we make learning more relevant to kids these days? Because the way we've been doing it is super old school. So I'm excited, and this kind of summarizes my thoughts on what is school for, what is our purpose, what is our why as educators, why are we here? Obviously, we have to satisfy the graduation requirements set by the Texas School of Education, the Texas Education Agency, TEA. And that requires having certain curriculum, right? Which will be things like math and things that he references, which is good to know to prepare you for if in that fact you do want to go into a field that uses that later on in life. So it's like building you well-rounded, but also remember, it's not just that information. It's character, like when you leave here, climb 5, gratitude, empathy, integrity, perseverance, and service. Are you a good person? Do you know life things? And we do a lot of our CTE classes touch upon that, on doing taxes and being prepared for life. I do think education has come a long way, but I do think we have a lot to grow.
Yeah.
So one thing that we did too was Klein became a district of innovation, which means we get a 5-year exemption. I believe it's 5 years, where there are certain areas that we've asked exemptions for, and for example, the way seat time. And can we do a class kind of like our blended learning in math, where you come to school, you come to that class twice a week, 3 times a week, but then the other 2 times it's office hours with the teacher. Okay. So we're on that track, but that's one class, so I can foresee the future being a lot more varied when it comes to reimagined learning being more applicable to you guys.
Mm-hmm. So in the video, he goes as saying that if the school system actually cared about personal and academic life, why don't we wake up later? And new researchers have proven that the teenage brain doesn't actually start until 9 or 10 a.m. So my question is, why don't we wake up later on?
Oh, absolutely. So I actually was on a committee that investigated or looked into, not really investigated, school start times and possibly changing them for high school kids. So yes, the research points to later start times would be, hello. Like it goes without saying. I don't even need research to know that it's tough to wake up super early and to be on point. Another thing that you have to factor in, there's so much when it comes to starting a school day in the grand scheme of things, whether it be transportation. So once our buses drop off, they immediately go their middle school route, the elementary route, then the middle school route. And so what would that look like if it were flipped? So it's really a logistics. It's not we want kids to be miserably tired and do bad. It's a lot of it is the logistics too. Also, after school things, jobs, co-op, UIL events, sports, the practices. And then we talked about, we could have the practices beforehand. Even though, other schools that we play, if we get out later, some of our games start early, then they would be missing school. Yeah. It's super logistical, but yes.
Okay. Teachers, it is their job to teach us all the stuff that we need to learn throughout the school year. And then when each student needs different ways of learning, how are they expected to learn the right way if each teacher teaches the same way to every single student?
Right. So I'm using a lot of education words with you, but I promise that we are where you're at, where he's at. It's called personalized learning and pathways. And so we are working towards personalizing learning. So I might have 5 kids in a class, right? And they might take a test and they might make an 80 on the test, all 5. But kid number 1 might be not understanding one concept. Kid number 2, a different concept. It's not, okay, so they made an 80. Yeah, that's a good grade. They passed. But they're going to move forward and still not know that one concept. And it can be different. So that's what personalized learning is to make sure that we are personalizing it for the kid. And voice and choice. Like, how do you want to learn? And so people learn differently. Choosing that, too. Have you ever been in a class lately that used voice and choice, like choice boards on how you do your assignment? Yeah, that's the beginning of personalized learning. Is it perfect? No, but we're definitely trying to work on it. I promise we are trying. Yeah, because we want school to be a place where kids want to come and feel successful and learn things that are applicable to them in their lives, within the confines of what we're asked, from the state of Texas to do it in.
And for my last question, for every kid out there who feels like they don't learn right, or they're failing, they think they might not be nothing in life, what are some words that you might have for them?
The words that I have for those kids is that this school doesn't define you. What defines you is what kind of citizen you become when you get out into the real world. And it's so very important to me. My number one thing when I hire teachers or when I have anything with teachers is you've got to want to be here for the kids, because this job is very hard. And you've got to love kids, and you've got to really want to connect with them and be that inspiration for them. Their why has to be about you, the kid, right? Yeah. The rest falls into place. When you have those relationships, when you have those teachers that you have relationships with, you can learn more than just what that teacher is teaching you subject wise, if that makes sense. And so one of our big focuses is build community, and that's building relationships with our kids. You know, it was like first days of school, like it doesn't have to be boom, 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 boom. This is the work. Like, get to know your kids. What do they like? What do they not like? How do they like to learn? So I think we're on the right track. I know any school system's got a lot of work to do, because things have changed, and it's time for us to change. Okay. And we're with you. We're with, what's his name? Prince EA.
Prince EA.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Miss Haddix.
You're welcome, buddy. I'm proud of you. Yes.